All right. Okay, I will be out of the office on Tuesday, February 17th, so this will take the place of our Class Connect session for that day. Go over some lesson material that you will be facing this week. All right, first of all, a ratio is a comparison of two quantities, and it uses division to show that comparison. For example, you've probably heard something like this, that fans are 2-1 that the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. That number, 2-1, is the ratio. A ratio can be expressed like that, 2-1. It can also be expressed as a fraction, 2-1. And that line right there just means division. You can also express it as linear with a little colon there, 2-1. So if I were to take these forms, I could transform them to ratios in the other forms. 3-12 would become this. And again, mathematicians like it simple, so let's simplify that to 1/4 because 3 can be divided into both of them. If we were to do a decimal form, all you have to do is punch on your calculator 1 divided by 4 and you get 0.25. 9-6, and again that can be simplified, and if you punch it in your calculator, 3 divided by 2 gives you 1.5. 7-11. That one cannot be simplified anymore. It's as simple as it gets. And if we push into our calculator, 7 divided by 11, we get 0.63. 35-42. This one can be simplified. 7. Both of these numbers are divisible by 7. 35 divided by 7 gives us 5. 42 divided by 7 gives us 6. And the decimal form would be 0.83. Again, just a heads up as we go through this, I encourage you to push the pause button and try to work some of these problems on your own, and then hit play and see if you are correctly understanding the principle. Okay, express the ratio of 6 weeks to 3 days and then simplify your answer. We have a problem here in that we're comparing weeks and days. What we'll need to do is transform weeks to days. So there are 7 days in 1 week, so there are 42 days to 3, which then does simplify 14-1. All right, this one's a little trickier. We want to find the ratio of x to y. Now remember what the ratio looks like. X divided by y. We want to have x in the numerator and y in the denominator. Now we need to look at what we've been given. X right now is in the denominator position. We like that. But it's hanging out with a 7. We don't like that. Let's divide to eliminate that. Now we have cy over 7. Y is hanging out over here. We want it right over here. How can we move it there? Let's divide both sides by y. When we do, we get our ratio that we wanted. The ratio of x to y is the same as c to 7. Let's try another one. Find the ratio of m to n. 3m is equal to 8n. The ratio of m to n, what are we looking for? We want m over n. M's in the right place, 3 is not. Let's get rid of the 3. We now have m is equal to 8n over 3. Is n in the right place? It's not. Let's divide by n, and we get a ratio of m to n is equal to 8 over 3. Let's try that one. 12m is equal to n. M is in the right place, 12 is not. M is equal to n over 12. N is not in the right place. Let's divide by n. Now here is tricky. N divided by n is equal to 1. The ratio of m to n in number 13 there is 1 over 12. You might be tempted to put 0, thinking we divided out that n and there's nothing left. That's not true. N divided by n is equal to 1. Alright, this last one. Put it over here. 4m is equal to 40n. M's in the right place. That 4 is not. M is equal to, there's some simplifying we could do here. 40 divided by 4 is the same thing as 10. N isn't where we want it. Let's divide by n. And we have the ratio of m to n is equal to 10. Okay, if you have questions about how to work some of these, please stop by Live Help. I'll be back in Live Help on Wednesday, the 18th, or you can send me a K-mail. Okay, going on to ratios part 2. In this, you'll be asked to solve some proportions. When we're solving proportions, we can do similar to what we've done before. Getting rid of the things that we don't want, putting the things that we do want where we do want them, but mathematicians are kind of lazy, and they've developed a rule of thumb. When you have two ratios that are equal to one another, they have developed something called, it's an algorithm or a method of doing it, called cross multiply. Basically, it allows you to do two things at once and save yourself a couple of steps. What you do is you multiply the numerator of one times the denominator of the other, the numerator of one times the denominator of the other. So what we would get here is x times 5 is equal to 3 times 7. See how I did that and put it right here? And I did that one and I put it right here. Now we have 5x is equal to 21. Divide both sides by 5. And we get x is equal to 21 fifths. Yes, we'll be doing several of these, so don't panic. Cross multiply. Save yourself some steps. The top of one multiplied by the bottom of the other, 2x times 2, is equal to the top of the other one multiplied by the bottom of the other one. 2x times 2 is 4x. 7 times 5 is 35. We want x all by itself. How can we manage that? If we divide by 4, we get x all by itself. And our answer is x is equal to 35 fourths. Now sometimes we're going to have a numerator or a denominator that's a little more complex, in which case we'll need to apply the distributive property. Put a little parentheses around there and then cross multiply. 6 times x minus 2, because we're multiplying the whole numerator times the whole denominator. Now we'll do the other side. 5 times 4. Now here's the tricky part. We're going to have to expand this, and remember, Grandma needs to bring a present to each grandkid in the house. So this expanded is the same thing as 6 times x minus 6 times 2. We can multiply this out already. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. We'll need to add 12 to both sides to isolate x. When we do, we get 32. To isolate x, we need to get rid of that 6. 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1. 32 divided by 6, ooh, that's not nice. It's not a nice even number. But we can simplify it. Let's see. 2 will go into 32. 2 will go into 16. To 6, 3. Our answer is 16 thirds. All right. Again, here's another one because I figured you guys would want another try at these. They're a little more complicated. Apply the distributive property 3 times everything inside that parentheses, so the entire numerator. The other side is just 1 times 7. Ugh, we lucked out. The other side's nice and simple. All right, we need to multiply it by both members of the parentheses. So 3 times 4x plus 3 times 2. 1 times 7 is 7. 3 times 4x gives us 12x. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract 6 from both sides. Should have done that with a little more room. Gives us 12x is equal to 1. Divide both sides by 12 and we get x is equal to 1 over 12. And again, if we wanted to check our answer, all we would need to do is put 1/12 back into our original statement, right where that x is instead of that. And if it simplifies to a true statement, we know we have done this correctly. What if we are given 2 variables? This is similar to those ratios that we were playing around with the m's and the n's from the first part of the lesson. Same thing. We are wanting a ratio of x to y. What does that look like? That's our target. We want x over y is equal to something. Now, how do we get that? Let's cross multiply. 4x times 2 is equal to 3y. Now this is starting to look a little familiar, huh? Let's multiply these, simplify that side. 4 times 2 gives us 8x is equal to 3y. What do we want? We want this right here. What does it look like? X over y. We've got x in a good place, but we don't want that 8. 8 divided by 8 is equal to 1. What do we want? We want y on the bottom. How can we get that? Divide by y. Y divided by y is 1. So x over y is equal to 3/8. The ratio of x to y is 3 to 8. Let me just check ahead. All right. Trying to see how much time we have left and what we can do in the time that we have left. All right. Here we have the messy part in the denominator. Same rules apply. Cross multiply using the distributive property. So put everything that was in the denominator in a little parentheses. Cross multiply the other side. Distribute to each member. So we have 10 times x plus 10 times y. 7 times 2x gives us 14x. I'm not going to have enough time. I'm going to stop the recording here and we will pick it up in the next segment.